All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Profit Roadmap. As always, we're your hosts, Ryan and Becca. This is the premier podcast created for field service pros to help you grow your business, stay on top of the latest trends, and help you provide even more value to the communities that you serve. Now, today, we're super excited to welcome Tommy Mello, founder of A1 Garage Door Service, the largest garage door company here in America, doing over 200 million in revenue, host of the popular podcast, Home Service Expert, author. Tommy, your resume goes on. Now, on the agenda today, we wanted to talk about technicians, specifically how to turn those savvy technicians into sales superstars. So, Tommy, absolute pleasure to have you here today. Welcome to Profit Roadmap. How you doing?
I'm great. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Super glad to have you here. So, for anybody who may not be familiar with you, could you tell us a little bit about your background or how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, so I'm born and raised in Sterling Heights, Michigan, and mom and dad worked a lot. Mom and dad got a divorce when I was 7. So mom worked 3 jobs, and she was always working. She kept us in our same school, kept me in sports, kept my sister active. And, I never used to like to bother mom with when I wanted something. So I just mowed lawns and shoveled snow. Didn't make a lot of money, but enough to buy what I needed as a kid. And then I started washing dishes when I was 12 at Rookies Clubhouse, which was a year before you're legally able to work. $4.05 an hour I made under the table. But I kind of always had a good work ethic. I learned to work hard at a young age. Mom and dad gave me a lot of love, told me I could do anything I want in life, believed in me, made a lot of mistakes, lots and lots of mistakes. I mean, if it could go wrong, it did go wrong early along in business. But I moved to Phoenix when I was 16, wanted to be closer to dad going through puberty and everything as a male does. And I started a landscaping company and did water conservation analysis. Got that up to like 30 grand at 20 years old a month. Was bartending, was flipping cars. I was the epitome of hustler. People always talk about
I like it.
I was the biggest hustler on the planet. I mean, I was flipping Bowflexes, Total Gyms, buying cars, selling them every single day, over 1,000 cars. And I knew how to make a lot of money. I mean, if I was working, I was making money. But when I wasn't working, I wasn't making anything. I had no delegation skills. I had no leadership skills. I didn't own a business. I owned a job. And so I got in the garage door industry, started out painting garage doors for a friend of mine. Started a business, made every mistake, got in the yellow book the year it went under. Owed Valpak a lot of money. I ended up telling my partner, I'll take on the debt or you can take on the debt because this isn't working. He ended up saying, I want to move to Montana. So I took on, $50,000 of debt. It turned out to be a lot more than that. Got my mom and stepdad to move to Phoenix from Michigan and leave their lives behind. I needed somebody I could trust. And that's the beginning of really what started to scale. Got it to 6 million through pure force and grit. In 2014, I found a good right hand, my integrator. 2017, started the podcast, started hanging around the right people, which is HVAC, plumbing, electrical. Those guys had all the private jets. So I said, success leaves clues. They must be doing something right. Spent the next few years traveling to $100 million shops and I call it R&D, rip off and duplicate. So I literally learned from these guys and gals. And they opened up their doors, and that's why I open up my doors today because I pay it forward. But the hustler had to die for me to become a leader. Last month we did about $6 million of profit. I started talking a lot more about profit rather than revenue. Revenue is for vanity. Profit is for sanity. I truly believe that. I literally had to work on myself first. I had to become a better leader. I had to start reading. I had to start showing up in a different way. And, the company is thriving. I'm involved in a lot of things. We're involved in a lot of charity as well. And it's fun because we'll probably do another deal. I did a deal in 2022. We got valued at 600 million. I took half of that off the table. 25 millionaires came out of that. I own half the company. We'll do it again, but we'll probably sell for a couple billion. I'll sell another half. You guys can do the math. It's fun. And I'm building my dreams. Like I'm watching people around me winning. And, there's this little passage by Ed Milet where he says, I'm the one who went out and drove all the miles and had the cancellations and I'm the one that stayed up and gave up relationships, and I'm the one. And basically, I sent my mom this little passage. I'm like, we broke the generational curse. Our family doesn't think like they think anymore. We think positive. My nieces and nephews, like life is different than it used to be. And it's a huge responsibility that not a lot of people are ready for. But I was ready. And when we did get the money, I was prepared. I protected. I've got trust. I've got uh, really, really advanced tax planners. I'm lawyered up like crazy. I've got more insurance than anybody on the planet. And a lot of people, they get the money and everything changes. It didn't change me. It just amplified who I am. I'm still the same guy. I show up to work every day. I work on the weekends. I don't really ever go to work, to be honest, because I do exactly what I love to do. Everyone does the stuff I hate, and they enjoy it though. Like I found specialists to do the stuff that I hate. Like I don't like to deal with lawyers or CFO stuff. I know how to read the balance sheet and look at the reports, but I've got 3 FP&A people, financial planning and analysis. I've got a great C-suite, VPs, directors. I mean, this company is ran like a real company now. And like I said, the hustler died. The hustler died years ago. I'm super focused. Racehorses wear blinders for a reason. They want to win the race. That was a really long answer, but that's about it.
It was a beautiful answer, my man. But piggybacking off one of the things that you said in there, you're seeing the people around you win. That's kind of what we wanted to talk about today. So more on the ground level, when we're talking about technicians and everything, I'll just ask a question direct. One of the big challenges, especially like HVAC, plumbing, electrical, in the field service industries, is a lot of technicians feel like they're a technician and a salesperson's on the other end of that spectrum. They're complete and polar opposites. So how do you guys get your technicians to warm up to the ideas of selling?
Well, I always do an orientation that lasts 4 hours. And I just did a group of 15 brand new technicians this month. And the first thing I do is hand out an offering plate, and I tell them to tithe. I'm like, put as much money as you got in your pocket in here. And they always laugh, and I'm like, guys, I'm kidding, but do any of you guys go to church? Have you ever been to church? Do you know a pastor, a rabbi, or a priest? And I'm like, they're the best salesperson on the planet. They give you 10% of your life savings to them. I'm like, if Joel Osteen could talk about it, I'm allowed to talk about it. To sell is human. Daniel Pink wrote a book about it. Every time you met your wife or husband, you were selling. You know, Kobe Bryant called himself the Black Mamba when he entered the court. We all have an alter ego. And you don't need to be a salesperson. What you need to do is smile. You need to say thank you. You need to look people in the eye when you talk. You need to give options. You need to listen. You need to not think about what you're going to say. I'm asking you not to do sales. I'm asking you to be a good human. And call it what you want, but sales is not a bad word. And I think the biggest problem in the trades is we don't recruit correctly. You know, I was a server, a bartender. I hung out with people at the restaurant that I didn't want to serve. I knew I wasn't getting a tip. I didn't mind. That was my job. So I think hospitality is a great place to recruit from. I think when you find somebody that the only thing I'm looking for is a great smile, tell me a great story, make me laugh. You do those things, you're in. I could teach anybody to fix a garage door. I could teach anybody to do any trade. The problem in our industry, home service and home improvement, is we try to find somebody that's great at the mechanical side instead of finding great human beings and teach them. And it's an investment. It takes a while. It takes me 90 days to make a really great technician, but I don't need to teach them to smile. And I don't need to teach them to be polite and say thank you so much for calling A1 Garage Door Service to be your garage door company. We really appreciate the opportunity. And say thank you so much for choosing us after the work and ask for reviews. But training is not something that I take lightly. It's a way of life. You know, I played football when I was a kid. We did 2-a-days. We practiced twice a day for 5 days to play one game. In home service, they say, you're going to ride with this tech for 3 weeks, then you're on your own forever. And that's just training is every day. And I think people miss that calling. I think a lot of people, they just don't understand. Nick Saban, and I met with him about 18 months ago. And I said, what's more important? The player's drive to win or their talent? And he said, dude, I'll be honest with you, it's both. You might think it's the drive, but it's not. I recruit better than I coach, and I'm one of the best coaches on the planet. Recruiting the right people with the natural talent and then training them. Yes, they got to have drive as well. And I think the other mistake, and we'll get into this in a little bit, is that we try to take the bottom 20 or 30% and move them up. Your top 20% is begging for more and they're being ignored. The top 20% say, give me more. I'll help you recruit. I'll get you more reviews. Let me make more money. You'll take your top guy and triple him quicker than you'll bring your bottom 20% up and double them. I mean, that's a fact. And the top people get ignored the most when they need to be fed the most.
Beautifully put. So I think that's an awesome mindset, and I definitely agree with everything there. Uh, when it comes to the hiring process, I think what you mentioned, finding those people that smile, you don't have to teach them. We'll call them the soft skills, right? Is that like something that's just baked into your guys' recruitment process? Like, what does that actually look like?
Well, if you go to Indeed, Glassdoor, ZipRecruiter, Monster, or Craigslist, you're going to find people on the unemployment line looking
Mhm.
for a job. I like to find people that already have a great job, that want to make a career change. Where do people spend most of their time when they're not at work? Usually they're on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok for a little bit of time. Some of
Mhm.
them, the average person that I'm looking for spends 2.5 hours on social media a day. So I want to find people with a job. I want to find people that already have responsibilities. They might own a house, they have a car payment, they have kids, they have a reason for trying harder. It's my job to help them dream bigger and to have a home and to fix their credit and to have more responsibility and live better. And then they have to. There's I like people that don't have options. When they live with mom, when they're happy with just making a couple grand a week, I like people that if they don't succeed, their family depends on them. That's
Right.
responsibility. I have a lot of responsibility. I want people that have a lot of responsibility and accountability. But the best way to recruit is watching people in action when you go out to a restaurant, when you go to get your tires changed at Discount Tire. But you can't, just like in sales or just the mechanical side or the operational side, the every single one of my coworkers needs to learn how to recruit. It's not something you just say, go recruit and I'll pay you. I think a lot of people are like, you don't spend any time showing them the process. So I'm rolling out a new program. I just discussed it with my COO and my CFO today. I'm going to give my top 20 guys, I'm going to pay them an ungodly amount of money because I know if they recruit and I fill up so I'm going to do this thing called mini chat and be recruiting, like go after the people I think are winners based on their social profiles. And I'm going to line them up. They'll do the interviews. We'll still have HR involved for background checks and DMV and all that stuff. But when they recruit, they feel a moral obligation to make sure those people win. I want them to find people like them. People like to hang out with people like them. I know if I could duplicate those 20 and they could recruit one guy a month, that's an extra 20 winners a month. And that's enough where they could actually watch them win and train them personally, get on the phone with them and go work out with them, go have a beer with them or go bowling with them or whatever, or have their kids hang out together. So winners know how to find other winners. I promise you that.
I really love that. Something just going back a little on what you mentioned about connection. Um, I was watching when I was learning more about you. I was watching a podcast you did with Andy Elliott, I believe, and you guys were talking about the importance of authentic connection as a sales technician. So with that added on to that, and also giving your technicians the resources to succeed. Um, like what just the power of that difference, because it sounds like a lot of businesses might underestimate connection authenticity in their hiring practices.
Yeah, well, look, I'm bringing on a full-time person for my marketing. They're not going to report to my VP of marketing. They're going to report directly for me. It's their full-time job is to build that funnel. And then we'll have things along the way where we narrow it down. But I'm like, listen, we're in Valpak, we're in Savvy Shopper, we're in Clipper, we're on TV, we're on the radio. We do hiring events. All of those should have a listing of if you're looking for an opportunity, come to us. So they're going to be working alongside of all the marketing we do to add recruiting. My A players, they do triple what my B players do for profitability, for reviews, for recruiting, for customer satisfaction, along the board, for driving better, for just ambiance of who they are, just getting along with the CSRs and dispatchers. So it's my job. This is the biggest, best topic I've ever been on a podcast because everybody asks, what do we do during these times? My top CSRs, my top dispatchers, they're 1A equals 3B. And going out and doing the work, people are like, yeah, I try to recruit all the time. No, you put an ad out. You don't actually go out and recruit. Recruiting is completely different than hiring. And this is you want to win, go find A players. Steve Jobs said it the best. He goes, I put a lot of smart people in the room. Let them do the work. Let them, if you find yourself micromanaging somebody on your team, you found somebody not as smart as you. And most leaders do, most founders do. They're like, they want to be the smartest person in the room. I hope everybody could run circles around me. I don't feel like people are going to walk out with my team. That's no belief in me. So I try to find people that are smarter. They got a higher EQ, a higher IQ. They're better with people. I don't feel less of a person. I got a lot to work on. I want to be around them so I can become better. I hire people that have been where I want to go. And leadership is a big deal. If you're going to have somebody if you're going to get A players, you better have good leaders they report to. Because good people leave when they're not valued.
That was bringing me to a topic on like just training, and I'm getting off a little bit, but I'm gonna get back. I'm staying on target because I think it's all connected. As far as you mentioned, you didn't own a business, you owned a job, and when you were talking about leadership and things like this, so for our listeners, like if they don't have these skills, these are things you can learn. Self-train yourself, really invest in yourself, become that person, that business you want to be. But the work starts inwardly, it sounds like.
I was watching a video that Gary Vaynerchuk, he had a 9-year-old come up to him. And she said, hey, Gary, my mom doesn't have enough time to edit my videos. I'd like to post more on social media. And Gary squats down like this and goes next to her. And he says, well, you're going to learn how to edit your own videos. He goes, I bet within 2 weeks, you're going to be one of the best editors that an 11-year-old ever wished they could be. And I think business owners need to understand that is you can possess the things you need. You could readers are leaders. There's certain things where you're responsible for all the good and bad in a company. And there's one thing you got to lead from up front. I mean, Simon Sinek talks about this, leaders eat last. I feel like it's so easy to point the finger. When I was on a plane yesterday and the oxygen mask, the lady said, when it comes down, put it on yourself first. You got to help yourself out before you're going to help out other people. A lot of people, they show up late to work, the business owners, the founders, they don't go to meetings prepared. They're just, their desk is a mess. They don't take care of themselves and they expect everybody else. Like, it's so easy to point the finger, but I've learned to look in the mirror first.
Yeah, totally agree. I think that if you have to come from the right place, you have to position yourself to be able to be the best leader that you can be. Let's talk a little bit about motivation. So when it comes to motivating yourself to be that leader, trying to motivate, your team, your technicians, everybody to essentially, do their best every day, that, like you said, that starts from the front. How do you get your technicians to get, excited about their opportunity in sales or in your company?
I wrote a book called Elevate. It's right behind me here. Yep. Build a business where everybody wins. And the premise is a dream so big that everybody else's dream fits inside. So we've got a dream manager. Their job is to find out what your dreams are, your bucket list, what you want out of life, your relationships. Do you want to own a second and a third house? You want to go to Disney World first class and cut all the lines and stay in a penthouse? Like, we got to narrow down your dreams and then reverse engineer that to your scorecard and make sure it's the right dreams. And, everyone knows what they make on each job. They've got a scorecard. They understand what they need to do to get better. They see where they're at. It's a competitive environment, so they see who's winning. They see who's getting the most reviews, who's getting the highest conversion rate, who's getting the most gross sales, which is service to sales. They see who's doing the most financing. Success leaves clues, like I said earlier. Find the number one person at that attribute, that KPI. Listen to those calls. We use software that you could actually listen to the success of when they sold the finance. which we call promotions. Well, we never say the cheapest option. We say the most economical builder grade, all the way up to the Taj Mahal, the best, the biggest value. I, what I've learned is that motivating people, that it's peeling an onion, and every single person is a different prescription. And some people are not motivated as much by money, but recognition. And some people are motivated by work-life balance, whatever the hell that means. And so it's really getting down to the root of what they're motivated by, and then reminding them all the time, instead of doing a performance improvement plan, talk to them about what's important to them. A performance improvement plan is a fancy way of a write-up. Just say, listen, you told me your dream was to take, I got a guy right now, his goal is to take his whole family on this safari. And it's $8,000 a person. He looks at the picture of his son every day and imagines him on this safari. It's going to cost around 30 grand to get the family there. So he goes in with those intentions. And we always talk about be where your feet are. If you're at work, be all in at work, be focused. If you're at home, be at home. Don't be focused on work at home and home at work. Hmm. And getting people, if you can't find out what drives people, either you got a leadership problem or they don't want anything better for themselves. There's a lot of people that lack self-esteem. They didn't have a mom growing up. And you got to be able to identify that quickly. And some people need to be told they're okay. Some people have a really bad smile. They got bad teeth. That's okay. That's the first thing we want to work on, is make you comfortable in your own skin. But it's really hard to take somebody that's been abused their whole life and turn them into an optimistic person. They're always thinking about yesterday, what happened to them. I could identify that fairly quickly. And it's easy to fake it in an interview. It's hard to fake it for a month. That's why the first month is a trial. I can't fix people. I already know that. I can take people and make them better, but I can't turn somebody that doesn't believe in themselves. I've been working out a lot. I eat really healthy. I get really good sleep. I drink a lot of water. I started doing this a lot in the last 6 months. I'm watching everybody get in shape. I mean, like, it's crazy. It's crazy how many people have followed my lead. Like, it's mind-blowing. We've lost like 1,500 pounds as a group of what we're tracking.
That's awesome. But you set the tone. You set the example. You don't even have to say anything. You just do it. People watch.
Well, I got baptized recently, and I always tell people, my job isn't to get you to believe in Jesus. My job is not to get you working out. My job is you come up to me and you ask me, what's going on in your life? Why are you always so happy? Like, well, you walk around here like you're on a cloud. Like, I want what you have. You should never have to persuade somebody. You should show them and lead, and they'll ask.
So when you have those technicians that might not have that self-esteem, or they're uncomfortable, how do those conversations go? Because there is someone that you can help, or if there's someone you can't help, and you have to let them go to some other opportunity. Like, what do those opposite ends look like?
Well, if they're not paying attention, they're always tired. They're not focused. It's very, very difficult. Like, the number one thing I find is aspire to be number one is one of our core values. I like to have people that like to win. If I play grandma and cribbage, I'm whooping that ass. If I play a 5-year-old and shoot some ladders, I mean, you play me a game with a 4-year-old at Candyland, I'm winning. So, like, this system for me is like, I like people that played sports. I like people that practice every day. I don't care if you did karate. I don't care if you played in the orchestra. You had to practice your whole life to become better. You had that discipline of practicing something every day. Now, when people say, well, if I say, what's your favorite sport? What did you like to do when you were a kid? If they're like, I just like camping. I'm like, well, what? Like, you could almost tell somebody that needs to win. And trust me, I hate losing more than I like winning. So, like, if I'm not number one, I had a ping pong coach and I got really good, so I didn't need him anymore. Now I've got, bags cornhole. I've got a coach for that. I've always got 4 business coaches going on at once. I invest a lot of money into me. Michael Jordan had 4 coaches other than Phil Jackson. I don't think people understand. Athletes have a lot of coaches. They look for help. I'm the first one to ask for help. And people see me asking for help. I'm not too much of a man to say, come help me, teach me. I want to go skip ahead of everybody. Well, I'm not a father yet, but when I am a dad, I'm just going to look for amazing kids. And I'm going to go talk to the mom and dad. I'm going to spend a lot of time learning from them how they raise such great kids. Because success leaves clues. If I want to get a better product mix, mine's the best product mix in the garage door game. But I've called my vendors and said, who's got the best product mix out of your whole company? Everybody goes, they want to go to Instagram for their, with the guy with the Lamborghini. I want to go for real world results. And our top people are excited to share because they know when they win, we all win. And if they help everybody else come up, which is really odd, because a lot of people will defend the crown. They'll say, if I teach these other people how to do this, but I say, listen, we're putting 10% into marketing. In this market, we can't afford TV, radio, billboards. We can't afford this, this, and this. You help the others come up and we create this environment. Well, they'll actually teach them and help them. And I go to companies all the time where the top guys, like the top 10%, don't want to share. And that's just not the case here. And that's probably the biggest thing I'm proud of is our top people are excited to share and watch other people come up. There's not this like, I don't want to share. I've got too much pride. And if anybody finds out, I won't get the good calls. That's not what we do here.
Yeah, that mindset of abundance, sharing that rising tide, raise all ships, all that stuff. Yeah. So digital age, how are you guys using tech to help you guys sort of grow your sales?
Oh man, I feel like I'm a software company that does garage doors. That's what I tell people. I mean, we just switched payroll companies. I need the data fed to me for payroll. I need to understand who's offboarded, who's onboarded, whose birthdays, whose anniversaries. All three, financial, payroll, and CRM, report up to me through Power BI. And I can pull the dashboards I need to see to make very good decisions. So there's that side of it. There's obviously an LMS. We're probably going to be getting back onto Trainual. There's some cool ones we're using as well, but I use PinParrot that helps rank my Google listings. It's PINPARROT. And that thing's got us ranking number 1 on Google in all my locations. So the phone calls are flying in. My buddy told me he figured out Google, and I'm like, yeah, okay, bro, you figured out Google. And so what it does is every time we're at a job, it posts the pictures onto our profile. And it tells Google we were there. It's a unique picture. And it feeds Google unique content other than just reviews. And it's murdering it. And we use Power BI, which is a business intelligence tool. I use a company called Rilla Voice, where every single call with the client's recorded. And it tells us, are we speaking too fast? Are we saying the same words per minute that they are? It actually analyzes the company story. That's freaking crazy what that'll do. But you gotta, the difference between, if you have that, you gotta coach with it. It's not just a product you record the calls and all of a sudden like everyone's listening. There's a lot of coaching that has to happen with that. So those are a couple. I mean, look, at the end of the day, if there's a software out there, we're getting really big into call center analysis. We're creating some of our own tools, our dashboards. I mean, the scorecard we created is all in-house. So you can see where you're at. You can see how much money you made. We made a calculator to show if you were to change and sell this instead of this. But all we do is we train to give options to do the right thing for the client. Treat them like your own mother. Like, don't feel like you're selling it. You don't make the prices, but fix it right the first time. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other software when it comes to fleet management and camera systems, and there's a lot to it. But I'd say one of the biggest things I did is get branded right through KickCharge. I mean, Dan Antonelli, I was 40 million when I got branded correctly. And man, people were lined up to work for me. My average ticket went up. I can't tell you, so many people don't want to spend any money on their brand, but they want to grow. Their email signature, their yard signs, their stickers, their brochures, their billboards, their website, their wraps, they don't match. They don't build the brand. And they got BBB and they got Angie's List and Yelp and all the phone numbers. Like, no one could even tell what they do.
It's
So
not
when I read the
cohesive.
book, Branded Not Blanded, I mean, Dan put that book out. It explains get your brand right, have people excited to be part of your brand and want to share your brand. So there's a lot of things that I kind of went through trials to figure out. And now I promise you guys, no matter what industry, whatever I do in the future, I'm 10 years ahead because I know exactly the mistakes I've made. And we make mistakes all the time. As being an entrepreneur and a visionary, we fail all the time. So this is what makes us so dangerous is that most people are not even willing to get up to bat. You know, if you look at the back of a baseball card and it says they're batting at 300, that means they're hitting 3 out of 10. That's some of the best in the world. You're not going to knock everything out of the park, but you're going to win as long as you're willing to take calculated risks. And a lot of people forget that. Well, we're just not ready. We're just not ready. Like no one's my risk ability to take risks is, and they're not even risks. It's A/B testing. It's trying new things. It's communicating well to the vendors we work with and telling them what this would have to perform at. And I tell people straight up, if this is not successful, not only am I not going to use this anymore, but there's nothing you could ever call me with because I do not buy products that the salespeople don't believe in. So if you do not make this successful for me and you're selling it, just we'll cut off this relationship after 90 days.
Yeah, I like to call it lessons, not mistakes, because you have to be willing to see what works, what doesn't work, and then I think what helped me with learning with selling with mistakes is you reiterate. It's like you evolve. You should never just be in this set place. You should also always be evolving and adapting because everything around you is evolving and adapting. So I really like how you said that.
Yeah, apologies, I had to stifle a sneeze. I didn't want to interrupt you. Uh, so, um, do you think it's fair to say that like you can grow fast, or you can go fast, but it's expensive, right? You're going to hire coaches. You're going to try to find people that have already made the mistakes you're trying to learn, or you can grow the organic way, which is probably going to be a lot slower, but you're going to have to figure out a whole lot of stuff on your own. Um, those are sort of the two forks that you see in the road. Like, you pretty much always grab the grow fast road, right? Like, I don't want to sit down and go through the same hurdles that every other person running a business has done. I want to try to learn from the people who've already been there and done it, so that I can jump the lines. Like you said, Tommy, like being 10 years ahead. So like, what are your thoughts on that? I know you said you got coaches for like ping pong and cornhole and stuff like that. So
Well, here's the deal. It costs money. And a lot of people, when you start a business, you got 10 grand in your account, you got an SBA loan, maybe if you're lucky.
mhm.
Most people don't understand it takes 5 years to even get a business started. You have no experience, you've got no money, so it's called sweat equity. And that takes time. And I'd rather have sweat equity and make the mistakes while I'm smaller than lose everything on a stupid mistake or a wrong marketing campaign or hiring the wrong person. So now when I go into business, I could hire top down instead of bottom up. The first thing a small business owner should do is find out where their time is going. And they don't have the most important thing is an executive assistant. You should not be going through email doing $25 an hour stuff. You shouldn't be jumping on the phone. Like, you got to do everything in the business to understand it. But you need manual standard operating procedures. You need checklists. You need to get focused on how to duplicate your own energy. And if you look at a schedule, like if you got yourself a daily planner and wrote in it of all the stuff you do, you're probably only working on the business an hour a day. Your goal should be to get that to 5 to 6 hours a day where you're actually making critical decisions. And then the husband and wife start making money. Their first year, they did well. They brought in 300 grand of profit. What do? They go buy a second house. They go on they buy the boat. When if they just put the money back in, they'd be winning. Like
Yeah.
they say, we deserve this. We worked our butts off for this. Now let's divest out of the one thing paying us. When it takes delayed gratification, like that's the deal. Is a lot of people I know, they're like, we're finally making it, so we decided to start flipping houses. What? You got a good business making a ton of money, and you're gonna take it out now that it's finally winning? It makes no sense, and I've done it. I'm speaking from shit that I did. Is like, do not divest out of the one thing. This is your best asset. reinvest into it, get great people, grow it, negotiate with your manufacturers, get more leads, get better trucks, elevate the whole business. Because here's the deal, you could sell for 10x if you get it high enough. But I did a lot more than that on the multiple. But you get this thing to a couple $1,000,000 of EBITDA, even if you sell for 6x, that's $12 million. And people are like, I never want to sell my business. What would I do? I'm like, you roll some of it into the new deal. And then now you've got a war chest of money and experience, and you learned about how deal flow works. And they're like, oh no, I'm never going to sell. And I'm like, well, what are you going to do? You're going to work hard for 15 years and miss your kids growing up? Because I know no small business owner really goes on a vacation. They're strapped to their cell phone. They're never there mentally. The kids are swimming. They're out in the ocean with the dolphins. Your mind is not there. You need to figure out how to make an asset and take some chips off the table, in my opinion. And I know a lot of people disagree with me, but as somebody that's been through it, there's no better way.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. If I've got a vending machine that's going to spit out money when I put it in, more money than I put in, I'm going to keep putting it in until I can sell that vending machine to somebody else, and then I can go start up my own new vending machine.
110%. I always say if you can put $1 in and take out $1.25, you're winning.
Mm-hmm. So in the spirit of friendly competition, you talk about winning a lot. Obviously, that goes hand in hand with competition, right? So talking about your sales teams and reporting and all that stuff, using your software to pull those things. Do you share your technicians' numbers like publicly, like in the office? Is that something that you guys do to sort of drive that, or? Well, I guess what does that coaching process look like for the guys?
Everyone's got access to everybody's scorecard. We actually go over the numbers each week. You got access to everything. In fact, the profit and the revenue shared with everybody. It's open book management. There's no secrets. Everyone's allowed to know we make a lot of profit. We don't hide that. This whole thing, we can't let them know that we make great money. We got to act broke all the time. But why? Like, no, I want to work for a profitable company. We do a thing called, it started out as an equity incentive program. And that's how the 25 millionaires got paid in the last deal. And I fought for my technicians and installers to be part of it's called profit units now under the PE company, where as a technician, if you hit the Pinnacle Club, you own a piece of the company. Number one, it's going to drive generational wealth. Number two, they're not going anywhere. Number three, they're going to put their best foot forward. Number four, they're going to have their family behind us in a big way. So plus it's easier to recruit when they know they can earn equity in the business. Absolutely. And that's kind of a secret sauce that nobody talks about because it's not easy to do. And you just don't consult a lawyer and know what you're doing, because you just do not hand out equity like it's candy. But when it's done correctly, every public traded company gives out stock options to people. Every private equity company does profit units. They'll give away 10% to the leadership team. I just brought it down lower because I was willing to give my own equity away if that's what it took. I got into an argument for 2 hours about this, and I won because I'm so passionate about it.
Yeah, that's a hell of a motivator for sure.
Absolutely. Equity in the business, and loyalty, and like you said, you spoke on this a few times, just like generational wealth, ending generational curses. It's bringing everyone else along with you.
They got to come along. And the thing is it gets easier. Every time we go through a transaction from now on, there are a lot of people that'll make money, and everyone sees it. And if everyone's winning, we're doing great. But even the way we pay, every single role is built on meritocracy, not tenure. I don't care how long you've been here. If you've been here that long, you should know the company great and be winning at everything. Like to give somebody that you've been here long enough, I'm here for your yearly one-on-one, you've moved up, here's a little bit of a raise, that's BS. You're allowed to come in here the first month and make what anybody else could make. I'm not a government, I'm not a socialist. I believe in capitalism, may the best man win. That's what's been the best forever, at least the United States of America. I'm a big fan of it. I think the best companies in the world, like Salesforce, they don't have to recreate every single software. They built a great API that other softwares can plug into. And if there's something better, they still win. And that's why they're worth billions and billions of dollars. I'm going into a different subject here, but I think even CRMs that try to develop everything and anything, they don't have somebody behind them like they don't have the ambassador of the new product. So I love the free market. I went through a master's program in business from University of Arizona. One of my favorite classes was economics and learning about what happens and why capitalism works and how it actually adjusts pricing. Like someone always comes out with a lower price for a better product. It just always happens in capitalism. So it's called the invisible hand. And I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but I love how it works because it's a real world scenario of how you need to work. Like some people think, when people start training on something like social media ads and they start coaching on home service, most of them were really good in their time, but they don't know if they knew how to do it. Like if I was going to be a Bitcoin trader, I wouldn't come out with I'd be making a fortune on Bitcoin. Like I do say that if they're that good, why aren't they doing it in business still? Or maybe they're just good. Maybe, like I understand a special teams coach that understands how to kick field goals. But if you know how to win the whole game, if you're really that well-rounded, why aren't you in the game anymore?
Absolutely.
So that kind of transparency, where it's not based off of tenure, do you find that creates like positive competition among sales techs and technicians? Because I know some, like you said, some companies are very afraid to be transparent or don't think it's necessary in that sense.
Yeah, if you don't like where your numbers are at, improve them. I will pay you $175 a day to train. It's not a ton of money. It's not what you would make if you were in the field. I'll fly you to Phoenix whenever you want to retrain. You can do as endless ride-alongs. You can go to any market you want. I'll pay for the flight and the hotel. Unlimited. All you got to do is ask. And the secret sauce is you want to be good at anything, find the best and just learn from them. You don't have to make it your own. Just, Tom Cruise and Tom Hanks, when they hand them the lines of the script, they say, read this. Do you think they say, make it all your own? Or do they say, learn this exact way? So we teach an exact process. So we're really getting detailed in what questions, verbatim, what to ask and when to ask it. And then we're using AI to make sure we're following the script because there's a right way. People say, oh man, so you are training sales. Well, Harkins says, do you want a large popcorn with that? I mean, McDonald's, like every single company I know does this, the ones that are winning. And AMC and all the, like if they do it at movie theaters, it's like, people are like, oh no, I don't like sales. Well, dude, I don't know what to tell you because to sell is everyday life. And that's how we there's a great book by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's my favorite book. And it's active listening. It's smiling. It's showing empathy. And the most people are naturals at it that we hire. They don't need to be trained on some of this stuff. They just need to know what to say. I'll train them how to wind a sprint, how to get through Good Leap with the finance. That's the easy part.
I can be a testament to that because when I first started here at Service Autopilot, I started in sales, and I would always say I hate sales. I hate selling. But then my boss told me, "You're selling. You don't have." I think I had to change my mindset of what I thought sales was because he's like, "Your tone of voice is selling. Just talk about the program and what you do in a day to day. That's selling. Like it doesn't have to be this obvious old school sales tactic that you're thinking." So yeah, you're right. Every day, every part of our life is sales.
Well, when I go to Starbucks, I smile. I've got this shirt on. I've got probably 50 of these shirts. They're whatever this M stands for, I forget. Travis Matthews. And I wear this shirt on the plane. I got A1 from Day One socks. I'm representing the company. I'm always polite. I'm always tipping well. I'm always smiling and asking about people's days.
Kindness will get you far.
And the deal is I'm happier because of it. Like I could walk around and act like something's bothering me all day. Like I don't have time, man. There's 2 billion stars in our in our galaxy. 2 billion. There's 4 trillion galaxies that we know about. My problems aren't that big. Okay.
It's fair.
Cosmic perspective.
Can
So
I do? Oh, go ahead. Sorry,
no,
Ryan.
go ahead, Becca. I don't want to cut you off.
I was just going to briefly ask, go back to AI. You mentioned that. I just ask how you use it to refine your processes and how you think it will impact sales in the future.
Well, here's the deal. Like you look at like for Dispatch Pro, what we're able to do or Power BI, we're able to put more information into the system. And machine learning is different than artificial intelligence. Machine
Mhm.
learning is basically statistics. It takes it, you got a bell curve with the big thing in the middle. You're looking for outliers. You're looking for information that'll cause this job to be better for this technician or this installer. Maybe it's that it's a three-door system, a three-door house. Maybe that it's they got a positive credit score. Machine learning could actually take all this data and tell us this is going to be the best technician to run this job. So software is a big, big deal. Now AI is actually able to assimilate and make inference. Like it can tell you stuff. Uh, I think it's a big buzzword right now. Everybody's like, "Are you getting on AI? Are you using AI?" And it's like, if you're not using it in the right ways, I still think we're early. I think AI is going to come a long, long way. And the coolest thing about AI is it's not going to be taking my job anytime soon. It's not going to go fix your garage door. It's not going to fix your air conditioning. It's not going to put gutters up. It's probably going to develop code very quickly. Like I think people that develop are going to be out of a job. I think uh, social media, photographers and editors, probably in a couple of years, there's not going to be a need as much. I love what we're in. This is why there's more investments. There's what $5 trillion sitting on the sidelines. Home service is essential. We worked during COVID. We got the pass to go work as much as we wanted. We grew, and now everybody's looking at us. And I'm like, dude, I just love being 10 steps ahead because these people that invest, they're very good at financials. They understand financial engineering. They do not know how to deal with blue collar people. This is a skill to talk to somebody that didn't have parents growing up, that literally doesn't know how to manage money. And not every blue collar is, but it used to be embarrassing to say I'm a garage door guy or I'm a locksmith or, I do gutters or whatever it is. I do stained concrete. Now it's like, it's our turn. There's 10,000 baby boomers a day retiring. 12% of those own a business. They don't have a plan. This is the golden era. I'm glad I'm going through this. I'm right where I want to be today. Like I love watching what's going on. And people are like more competition. I'm like, good. Bring it. I'm not worried about competition. The only competition I have is in the mirror. It's all on me. It's me and the team. And people are like, "Well, what are you going to do when people could outspend you?" I'm like, "They won't. They can't." Like that's the deal. That's why I plan on having a monopoly in the garage door industry. All this competition says we're going to do this. Dude, I'm looking around 10 different corners. They don't even understand. If they knew my plan, they'd probably sell out today. And unless I die, nothing's going to stop me. I've already think the book's been written. I already see it as
Good.
done. Now I just got to take the steps. I know exactly what to do. Now I just got to do it. And the deal is, it's not the first time I've been in this situation. So I'm going to just execute. That's what I know how to do. I'm the chief executive officer. I execute. And that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's a killer vision. I love
Big
the
vision.
I love the mindset behind it, man. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
All right, so another question for you. So when it comes to keeping score, talking about your sales team and whatnot, what numbers do you guys watch to determine if a technician is killing in sales? Right? You mentioned earlier revenue is for vanity, profit is for sanity, right? What does that look like for you guys actually like internally in the business?
So customer satisfaction is the first thing, right? Lifetime
Mhm.
value. We want to make sure we're getting the net promoter score is where it needs to be. Number two, conversion rate is more important than average ticket. They called us out. They had a broken garage. I want to earn that client's business. The next one is average ticket. And what helps the average ticket is when you go out to a beat up old garage that's not insulated and you sell them a new one because that's what you would do for mom. So average ticket, but what helps that is turning a service call into a new equipment. Like you shouldn't go out to a 15-year-old air conditioner or a roof with messed up shingles. Like the whole thing. rotten wood underneath it. It needs to be replaced. So, plus it's an investment. You took a loan probably to get a house. You probably got 2-3%. We borrowed money for this asset. Don't you think we should? People say, how do you feel about selling financing to a client? And I'm like, it's to protect their investment. The garage door gets 193.9% ROI, more than your kitchens, bathrooms, adding a pool. I feel great about it. It lowers your electric bill. It's the smile of your home. It's 40% of your curb appeal. I feel great about it. So we look at these things and we say, customers, did you want to use your money today or did you want to use ours? There's no prepayment penalty. It's just a small monthly fee. It actually pays for itself. So we've got KPIs the guys look at, but what I love is they can see who's number one in every category. They can see who's number two, who's number three, and they've got the ability to reach out to those people at any time and just ask questions and listen to the calls they do. But here's the problem. A lot of people don't. They're just content because they've reached how much they have to reach. They've made enough money. They're making enough to fulfill their goals. So I've got to inspire people to have bigger goals. And that's my job. My job is to inspire for people to want more. They deserve more. Some people don't think they deserve it, believe it or not. Some people look at themselves and they don't think they're worth it. So I got to explain and help them understand they're worth a lot more than where they're at today. You think I walk in a room and I think I'm the baddest ass dude that ever walked. Now I'm not. There's a difference between cocky and confident, but I try to go right along that edge, because if I walked in there and said someone's better than me, maybe they are, but I'm going to learn from them. That's the difference.
Exactly.
Is I'm going to go ask a million questions and try to learn what they know. If I love what I'm not going to try to learn on things I don't want to learn about, but
Right.
if I'm taking care of myself, if I'm working out, if I'm eating right, if I'm not drinking a lot, I got energy, I got focus, I'm disciplined, I'm generally happier. You look at dopamine. Dopamine's intended to get released when we do hard stuff. It's not supposed to be when we smoke marijuana or do cocaine or drink or tobacco. It's designed, or nicotine. It's designed to do hard things. And when you have enough of these endorphins and serotonin, dopamine getting released, you're a happier person. And I think people are starting to notice that. They're like, dude, I don't even get mad when there's a big problem. I'm like, all right, what are we going to do about it? Let's fix it and it won't happen again. Like, I'm glad we found it.
Find the solution. It's the mindset
Absolutely.
shift.
Yeah, I love sharing that stuff. It sounds like you guys have built an awesome culture around,
Absolutely.
finding winners. I think that's probably something that everybody should really be looking for.
110%. If you are not building, Jim Collins wrote a book called, it was either Good to Great or Built to Last, but he talks about getting the right people on the bus. You know where the bus is going, but the right people will help you get there. And sometimes you got the right people on the bus, just not in the right seats. And I'll tell you guys, your talent. I shifted a few people in 2020. We went from 12 million of EBITDA to 28 million in 19 months.
Damn.
It's impressive.
And now it's like, there's a good book called Who Not How. It's by Dr. Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan. And I think everybody should read that book, and they should also read Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. Because Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, they have the same amount of time as me and you have in a day. They just know how to delegate better, and they know how to hire better, and they know how to incentivize better.
Yeah, we'll put those in our show notes for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome stuff. Well, Tommy, looking at the time here, I want to be mindful of it. I don't want to keep you for too long. You're a busy guy. You got anything going on? If anybody wants to hear more from you, obviously they can check you out on the Home Service Expert podcast, but you got any other events or anything coming up?
Yeah, we've got a big event. It is going to be September 25th in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
I've got all of the people who made me successful, like all of my mentors. And the guys like Paul Kelly, that he's going to do 300 million here in Phoenix, Parker and Sons. I've got Leland Smith. He's going to do 550 million this year. Ken Goodrich with Gettle's going to be there. I've got Jocko Willick talking a lot about discipline and just extreme ownership. I mean, this event, I can promise everybody, I don't make money on this event. I actually lose money, which seems stupid, but I think getting all the people in the right room is important. It's going to be a game changer. It's in San Diego, September 25th through the 27th. It's called Freedom Event, freedomevent.com. And, if you do, San Diego's fun at the end of September, so you should come. It's not just going to be a bunch of people yapping at you. It's going to be a place to build relationships. Number two, if you want to come visit A1, I don't charge for shop tours. I do shop tours several times a month. It's Tommy Mello, no W, TOMMYMELLO.com/shop. Sign up for a shop tour. I'll show you everything we do from soup to nuts. I'll answer all your questions. And, the home service expert, I don't sell anything in there. I don't promote my own products. It's literally a place to ask questions and learn more about the business. There's 13,000 people in there that own businesses that try to help each other. That's what the group was intended for. So it's a great place. And I'm all over social media. Like, I love putting out great content. I'm trying to grow that channel because the larger those channels get, the more I can help more people.
Awesome. Again, killer vision, man. Very much appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, guys.